Welcome back to Trail Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Shimmons.
And I'm Ricki, Wynne.
And we're back for another Trail Talk. If you can't stick around on Instagram, you can catch up on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you do podcasts. Good to see everyone joining in the chat. If you've got questions through the show, drop them in and we'll try to tackle them. We have a stacked show: news, banter, training, a lot of racing. Mate, the season's kicking off. It feels like the season just finished and we're into another one. So we've got stuff to talk about there. If you want to support the show, give us a review. What about that? Wherever you're doing your podcast, give us 5 stars only. And if you're not doing 5-star reviews, get out of here. Get away. Away you go. Or you can leave a question in the description on Spotify or on YouTube, and we'll tackle that on the next show. So you can do it that way. And yeah, what else have we got coming up? This is the last show from Australia for a little while. It's Tuesday morning in Australia, Monday night in Europe, and Sunday morning I fly back to the green grass of home. Looking forward to it. I cannot wait.
Wet grass. The wet grass. It's very wet.
Mate, it was very wet here, but even still, even when it was bucketing down on Saturday and Sunday, it was still 20-something degrees and 90% humidity. I looked at the forecast for Newcastle, which is the town at the Mourne Mountains, and it said 3, but feels like -5. So, not good.
Yeah. But I mean, when it's 26 degrees or 24 degrees and the rain is the rain coming up out of the ground? Is that how it works over there? How can there be 90% humidity, 24 degrees, and then it's pissing down? Like, there was a serious amount of rain at that race for it to be cancelled. I seen you put up a video, or you sent a video or something. It was coming down the steps. It was like a couple of inches high.
Yeah, that wasn't even near the peak of that. Was just in the evening. I think from about 8 o'clock on Saturday night, it started raining sort of heavy, and I think the forecast was saying like 8 millimeters an hour. But through up to midnight, from midnight to 4, it was 15 mil an hour. So it was double what you saw in that video. It was unbelievable.
That's crazy. It's crazy, yeah. Like it's like a flash flooding, like for nearly 24 hours, like.
Out in the street, like I live on the street I'm on is probably about like a 4-degree hill, and you see, I'm ignoring the chat right now.
Soft in Oz.
You see the watermark on the wheels of the cars, and the watermark was halfway up it was near at the bolts on the wheels. That's where the dirt mark was, where the water was coming down the street. I didn't even go out. You couldn't go out in that. Like,
yeah.
You'd just be absolutely drenched. But look, let's move on with the show.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the meetup next weekend. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. How's your week been? How have you been since the last show?
Yeah, it's been good. I'm busy, like, like a man said to me one time, I've been busy since I left school, like work is crazy and then trying to train on top of it. So it's just trying to find that balance, trying not to break myself as well at the same time. But look, everything's good with me. I'm always good, man.
That's because you're a positive thinker. That's what we need. That's what we need. People need to be positive thinkers because shit's gonna happen anyway.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to lie, it's not easy. It's not that easy, and we'll probably get into it when we start asking a few questions later on about like training and stuff like that. But I mean, it's not easy this time of year, and it's just you're trying to grind at work, and then you're trying to go home, and you've got to work to do. So you just got to put the head down and go. That's it.
I'm looking at the show notes here, and you've actually put a note in. You put a wee note in, but we'll come to that in a little bit. What about the spine? Let's talk about the spine briefly because it just finished. I mean, I think everyone's finished now. Pretty much. Are they finished now? Anyway, the main the front of the race has finished, and it was like, what is like,
Yeah.
it just continually sort of fell apart the whole way through, and Eugenie like quit near the end. Like he was on two stops, two aid stations, not even aid stations. He was on hot one, which is like, what is it? It's so close to the finish,
Yeah.
and he was
I,
just so bollocksed that he had
yeah.
to stop.
Like that's insane. Like I think, right, if I'm right in saying that he was 12K from the finish. Something like that.
Maybe
12K
12,
from the
maybe
finish.
12 miles, maybe
Yeah,
12
maybe,
miles.
yeah. And like he just fell apart. Forgot he was in a race. And like when we were talking last Monday, the leaders of both races, of all races, we were like, well, they can't be caught now. They can't be caught. And it all fell apart, like completely fell apart. That is, like, it was very cool actually following the spine in the days after that. And like, look, I was delighted for Sebastian because I think he's badass. I think he's super cool. Won the Tour de Glaciers, Tour de Gants 450. Just ahead of Brian Mullins, but I mean, he put on a masterclass over there, and he pretty much ran a fantastic race in the spine. He just did his own thing and just kept plugging away and putting one foot in front of the other. And then he finished. And am I right in saying he finished in a bin liner?
He did, yeah. And the same guy was photographed at Barkley marathons in a bin liner. So
Yeah.
I thought it was like a tip of the hat to the Barkley, but probably not. He is quoted as saying that at 800 meters elevation in the Cheviots, which is that last sort of range of hills before the finish, he said at 800 meters it was like high mountain terrain. It was
Yeah.
so difficult, like the snow and the wind. And he said there was no visibility and he was just following the GPX on his watch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's a guy that is like, he's known to be someone that he doesn't have to rest much. He can just keep going. So he was out going there at his pace. He thought the pace was too hot for him and he just did his own thing. And it just slowly came to him and he was seeing people dropping like flies. And he was in hot one when Eugenie was lying there screwed.
Yeah.
And then he just had to get up and go, and it was his,
Yeah.
which is just absolutely remarkable. It's like cliffhanger to the finish, which is
Yeah.
kind of weird for something that took him, I think, like 95 hours.
Yeah. And like even when you think about it, like Ian Keats was doing reports on the spine, right? And he was doing some great, great reporting
Yeah,
on it and giving us updates on his Facebook page. But like he called it. He was sort of saying, you know, I hope Eugenie doesn't like run himself into the ground. And that's exactly what he did. Like he had total control of that race, total control. And all he had to do was just manage himself. And he just completely fell apart, like completely exploded. Like,
he won the race 13 years ago. He's had a
mm,
podium at the race, and he's had something like 11 DNFs in a row.
yeah, yeah, that's,
Like people are sort of have said to me online, like, oh, mad respect for going out and just like giving it all. But I agree with that, and I'm not dissing him on that. But I do have to say, at what point do you learn?
yeah,
Like, how many wins could he have had? Because he was at the front last year whenever I was on the ground covering the race. He was in the lead pack until he blew up. So
yeah.
he's proven that he can run at the front, and he probably doesn't need to tweak too much to be able
He
to win the
just,
spine.
he
He
just
could be he
needs to
can have
stop.
more wins at the
Yeah.
spine than anybody.
He just needs to stop beating himself. That's what he needs to do. He's beating himself. There was nobody else. There was nobody else catching him. He bet himself like insane stuff. Not even to know he was in a race, but what? Like, there's not too many events that happens. You know what I mean? That is the spine. That's nearly true to the spine there. Like, pretty cool.
Yeah, a couple other things before we move on from the spine. Reese Beddoe in the Trail Talk community, he won the Mountain Rescue division of the Challenger North, which is the harder of the shorter distance races. Isn't that still like 160 miles or something?
160, yeah, something like that. I think 163 maybe it could be. That's a cool race, right? I actually didn't know. Like, look, there's a lot of races in the spine, especially this year. Like they had more races in it, and I wasn't sure what that race was, and I was trying to figure out what exactly is it. But that's a cool race. It's like for the mountain rescue team, So you're actually going up against very, very hardened, very, very well trained individuals, So it is big respect there to win a race like that.
Yeah, yeah, and he lowered the course record for mountain rescue by a couple of hours, but he didn't even know that that was the case. Like he thought he was going, he thought he had missed that, but ended up whenever he finished, he found out. So big respect to Race. He's always a good contributor in the
Yeah,
community. And the last thing on the spine was we had double handhold finishes in the Challenger North, which is the sprint. Challenger
yeah,
North
John.
sprint. John Shields and Damien Hall and Nikki Spinks and Iliam Bison. So, I mean, it's unfortunate. Like, what do you say? If there's a race to hold hands in at the finish,
Yes,
it's
yes.
something where you've gone through total hardship, extreme conditions, maybe safer to team up together. So we'll give them a pass on that, but it's
Yeah,
unfortunate to
like,
see. We like to see racing.
yeah, we do, but I might get a lot of shit over this now, but I look at the spine as a big challenge event more so than a race. If maybe people will disagree with me there, but I think it's more of a challenge. I think people that sign up for that race, especially the main spine, they're more interested in seeing can they go the distance. You know what I mean? They probably looked at that race for 10 years and trained there and lived and breathed it, and it's a challenge that they want to complete. It's to them. I don't think it's a race as such. It's more a challenge.
And I think it actually stands out as one of the better challenges for that approach because you and I, like, we can probably both look at the spine and go, we could enter that race and it could easily take one of us out. There's so
Yeah,
many variables, such a long period of time to be out there in the elements, and you get something wrong, like, you don't manage your gloves and you end up just
yeah,
having wet hands out. You don't manage your feet out. You
yeah.
slip and fall. Like there's so many DNFs this year where people had slipped in the ice, in the muck, and they maybe hit a knee and they had to quit
Yeah.
because of injury. So it definitely does suit itself to that. So big respect to anyone that went out there and
Oh,
tried it, and
massive, massive
double
respect.
kudos to those that finished it. So um, I would certainly give it a go if the organizers weren't absolute knobs. But we'll
Okay,
move on.
I actually genuinely think I'm too soft to do the spine. That's the truth. I'd be straight up and say it. I actually don't think I'd be mentally strong enough to do the spine. That's true, I think.
Yeah, I don't have the enthusiasm to run winter ultras. I would certainly love to run the Pennine Way, and the
Yeah, I
Spine
in
Summer
summer.
is the way to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, in summer, yeah.
or you could just do it as a personal challenge and sleep in pubs along the way, which is also something people will do the Pennine Way in the way that they'll do the Tour de Mont Blanc. They'll
Yeah,
do it over,
deadly.
a couple of weeks and have a pint of real ale and a pie and mash or something in the evenings, which sounds really good. I like the sound
Yeah.
of that as well.
We could do that. We could do
Yeah.
that. Trade Talk could do that.
From one long cold race to another, Terra de Gigantes was in Portugal,
Mm.
303 kilometers, about 9,000 meters of vert, but it's mostly like it's a net downhill race. Well, just like Dave Phillips won the race, Robbie Britton was second, but Rebecca Horman was third overall, lowering the female course record, finishing obviously first female, third overall. She was actually quicker and finished faster than the previous overall record. In that race, Robbie Britton, when I was going to say Robbie Williams, Robbie Britton
Same thing, same thing.
went out quick. Like he went out fast. He had a
Yeah.
massive lead, and then he blew up. He absolutely blew up. He staggered over the finish. I was following the race on the tracker. I was putting updates into the Trail Talk WhatsApp and the pro running group. And at one point, he had like a 20-kilometer lead. Dave Phillips actually ended up beating him by about 20 kilometers.
Crazy.
And whenever Rebecca was behind Robbie, whenever I checked, it could have been a bigger gap. She was about 16k behind him. And in the last 50k, she closed it down to 3. Robbie
Wow.
nearly got chicked. Rebecca ran a really good race. So super impressive there. Any thoughts on that race?
Yeah, because like I was messaging Robbie after the race just to see what that race was like. I was saying congratulations on finishing second, but then I just wanted to know what it was like to run it, and he was saying that he says the race that'd suit me. He says it's very like Wicklow Way-esque, if you know what I mean. So it's like rolling terrain, but all very, very runnable. And he said it was a a good race to run for a runner, right? But he said, yeah, definitely he had a tough time. But he was trying to get a massive lead, and then that'd be a buffer. But look, it doesn't work like that sometimes, especially in those like 300k races. And just like you were talking about in the spine, all right, where it doesn't matter how fast you are or how strong you think you are, or if you're quicker than me or I'm quicker than you or something like this. Like Rebecca showed that in a 300-kilometer race, anything can happen, and if you just run it smart, stay in the game, and fuel like an animal, you'll catch anybody, because they're long enough for people to keep fucking up. People keep making mistakes, and then Rebecca will just hunt them down and hunt them down. Like, she is a beast. Like, I was thinking about her even on my run this evening, and I was thinking, I'd love to see her go over and do something like Cocodona or Arizona. I think she'd hammer so many people. I think she'd win those races. Like, they'd suit her down to the ground, because they think they're big, tough, gnarly races out there, and they're not. They're not actually. I think she'd smash those races.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it feels like Rebecca's getting better and better. And this now was a big win at a long distance race that's kind of flies a little bit under the radar, but it's the winner of the race gets an entry to Tour de Gigantes.
That I was going to ask you that question. I says I know it's affiliated with Tour, so I was always going to wonder, like, if you like finish in the podium, do you get into Tour? So that's cool.
Yeah, and it's part of the 100 World Championship, which is kind of a little bit of a what the fuck's this, but um, the I think she might get an invite to that finale as well because she's won this. And
Yeah,
if we think back to a few months ago, Martin Perrier, he was he won the finale of that in
that's
Brazil
right.
in this, I think it was December. So the thing about that 100 series is there's big prize money.
Cool.
So there's big money behind it. Um, so yeah, super interesting. Looking at Rebecca's splits on Strava, have you looked at them?
No, no.
The first like 20k, she was running like 4 minute Ks, like 440s
Yeah.
in a 303-kilometer race. And I was chatting to her about it, and she's like, I didn't want to blow up my quads braking because it was like downhill. So I just kind of like tried to run free and not, spend the muscles. But even still, like she was running at like a 50k or 100k at the start.
Her Instagram was cool because you could see her at different aid stations, and whoever was filming it, you could see her coming into all the different aid stations, and they're all at different times of the day and different times of like whatever, and you would just see that, like, where this is the thing about ultras, you can be in the bin at one aid station, and by the time you get to the next one, you're back. You know, you're back and you're running great again. And then back in the bin because it's a 300k race. Then you're back in the bin and it's like, I can't go, I can't move forward. And she looked done in one or two aid stations. And then in the later ones, in the latter ones, she looked like she was, because she would have got that. She would have got information that you're catching these lads, you're catching them, you know, and then she was fired up. And it's like, how is she still doing this? How is she getting out there? Because halfway into it, it looked like, you know, she was struggling. And then all of a sudden, she's back, she's out, and she's running. It's insane, like.
Yeah, and the winning time was 40 minutes, 40 hours, 51 minutes. So that's super fast for that type of distance. But yeah, look, interesting. A great win from by Rebecca, and she's coming on the podcast in a couple of weeks. She'll probably be on this week if we had more availability for podcast recording. Ricki.
Yeah,
Uh,
time is money. Time is money.
time
And
is
I have
money,
no
yeah.
money or time.
So, big race kicking off this weekend in the world in the UTMB World Series, Arc of Attrition. Scanning
Yeah,
through the entries for that race. We'll start off at the miler, and like I think the first thing that stood out to me was that Sabrina Stanley is racing, and like I don't follow her stuff closely, but the last big bit of news was the cancer diagnosis. So really happy to see that she's back at a start line. I think that's amazing news.
yeah, yeah, and interesting too because look, I don't know how she is, how fit she is, how strong she is. You know what I mean? Because of what she's been through. But like UTMB index is what it is, and it has her as a favorite. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see how she gets on in that race. Yeah, but very, very glad to see her back racing again. And then you have Claire Banwit, but then and Holly Stables. You know, so it is pretty stacked. But then there's another girl in there for me who's like a dark horse. I think Charlotte Fisher's her name. She's not a HOKA pro. I don't think now. Somebody might correct me on that, but she's like affiliated with HOKA and they support her. You know what I mean? And they help her out and everything like that. But I mean, this girl only started running in 2023. Hey, and she's like had some amazing results. Like so, her runner's index is putting her down in fifth or sixth, something like that. But I'm telling you, she's definitely well able to race against the best. I think you know.
Is she like to do the miler? Is she stepping up in distance for
No,
that?
no, she's done it. Like she even did when I did Majorca this year, she did the miler, and I think she was third in the miler. I could be
Okay.
wrong. She could even be higher, but I just have it in my head that she was third in the miler, you know. So she's loves the long stuff. And I see her training. I know what she's doing. And for ARC, she was actually because she's training for what is that, UTMB Blue Trail, the Tenerife Blue Trail,
Yeah.
yeah. So she was over in Tenerife, recce in that course, so that's what she's doing next. But I mean, she was banging out some big, big miles over in the Isle of Wight where she's from, and then in Tenerife as well. So she's had an amazing training block. So, you know, I wish her all the best in the race.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how she goes. With Claire Bamworth on the start list, do we even know? Like Claire's on every start list of everything from miler and above. She was on the start list for the spine, and yet she was walking around in a boot, I think.
Yeah,
She had some sort of
keep,
injury or whatever.
keep showing up, Claire. Keep showing up.
She keeps showing up to the entries, but she doesn't show
Yeah.
up to the race. I can't see Claire Bamworth being someone that would challenge for the win there, but yeah, it's noteworthy whenever she's on the start line anywhere. You
Mm.
mentioned Holly Stables. She's not someone that races a lot of long distances. Like she did TDS in 2022 and had a decent run there, but she's always podium or winning at stuff 50k to 50 miles, like Centurion races and like English competitive English races. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see how she does at Arc Miler.
Yeah. Yeah, so sometimes I think that's like I even feel like that sometimes where I'm looking at races and I'm seeing, oh, look, the 100k is pretty stacked, and I'm thinking, geez, you know what? the 100 miler. I think I could podium in the 100 miler rather than finish, squeeze inside the top 10 maybe in the 100K, because sometimes it's just not as competitive as the 100K. And if you have got good legs over 100K, you can still do really well in the miler. Like, so I always think that's a way that, especially like elites or let's say semi-pro athletes would look at a race, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, and that is the way, but it's not going to be the way forever
No.
because the guys that are currently at that 100K at the top of it, in that top 10 of the 100K, a portion of them are going to go, I'm not winning this.
Yeah.
If I step up, maybe I'll go from fifth to 10th to first to fifth.
Yeah.
But like looking at the miler, like Juuso Simpinen, previous Kulamanen champion, 16th at UTMB in 2024, and 7th at Chianti last year, which was super competitive as well. And then Hugh Tibbs, super
Yeah.
fast, 13:03 Autumn 100, and obviously third at ARC last year. And then Kim Colliston, he skipped spine this year after the redemptive win at the race, and he's going for ARC. So, uh, Trail Talk favorite Kim Collison. What are your thoughts on the
Yeah.
men's field?
I just have a star beside Kim, because like that's the way I'm looking at it. It's like I don't know a whole pile. I don't know as much as I'd like to know about the other lads. And then because Kim is a favorite, I'm just a fan of the guy. I think he's a good guy, and I want to see him do well. And I really hope he does well in the race. So I just have a big star beside his name and nobody else's.
Well, he'd be my favorite in the field as well. Kim's such a
Yeah,
nice person that you just want him to do well at everything. So
yeah.
he has the potential. He doesn't need our goodwill to go and crush ARC, but it'll be
Oh,
interesting to see
definitely. Yeah,
how he does. And but moving on to the 100K,
yeah.
stacked men's field: Chris Jones, Danny Jung, Keith Wigley, Harry Jones, and then Irishman and the Cloak is in there as well. Super stacked men's field. That's going to be a race.
Yeah, class. Like you're getting the top Brits. Like for me, it's like I'm looking at Chris Jones, Keith Wigley, and then Harry Jones. I'm thinking the three of them battling it out. That's super cool to see that, right? But then you have got Enda Cloak from Ireland, right? I know Enda well. Enda wins everything here in Ireland. Like, you know what I mean? He's a beast. Like, he is a beast, and he's trained really, really well for this. So he's definitely a dark horse. Like, his ranking has him up, I think, in fifth place, right? So, but don't be surprised if he can do better than that. You know what I mean? Like, he's a funny character. He's a messer, but he's serious at the same time. So he'll be giving it his all. But there's also another lad in there. I think he's in the top 10 as well. I think he could be ranked sixth as well. Joe Farley's his name. Um, Joe is coached by a guy called Lewis Moses, whose actual wife is running in the 100K as well. But Joe is really, really good lad. Like him and End would be very similar, both like 2:30 marathon runners, both very good on the trails. I would say End is slightly better on the trails, but Joe works really hard. Like I raced Joe back in like 2 or 3 years ago over in Wales, and I just pipped him with about a kilometre to go on the race. And I think I only got him because there's a lack of experience on his side, whereas now he's done a lot better. He even was third at Coolaman and 100K this year and got himself a place in CCC. So very interesting to see Enda and Joe go up against like the likes of Harry Jones, the likes of Chris Jones. I think that's going to be very interesting.
Like for Enda, he only has one race of 100K ish, 130K Wicklow Way race. So it's kind of feels like a big step up in terms of
Hmm.
uh it's hard to say it's a big step up in distance because he's run it before, but it's not his wheelhouse this distance. All the stuff that he would be
No,
doing well at, it's not 100K. So it'll be
yeah,
interesting to see. But he's got the speed, and it'll be interesting to see. What do you think of Chris Jones, the 100K? Like Chris, was it the 30K or the 50K he won? It was a 30K he won here last year.
yeah, but
Like,
Chris he's won the 100K in UTS. You know what I mean? So do you know what I mean? There's no reason. Like, he's an orienteer, you know what I mean? He's well used to plowing through shite and muck and crap, and he'll eat up that race. He'll
He,
eat up
he,
that race. And
Chris Jones is a guy who's good at everything.
everything,
Road,
everything. It's actually ridiculous.
yeah, he's got serious
Yeah, I think
speed.
he's got like a 13 minute something, 5K, you know, and then he's an orienteering champion, like, right, represented Britain at everything. I think at track and field, orienteering and the trails, you know, he's just unreal, gifted, like.
Yeah, be interesting to see how he goes. Any predictions on that race? Kind of think that would be interesting to hear.
I think, like, I'm kind of putting it down. I think I have Chris for the win, and then I have Keith second and Harry Jones because I'm a big fan of Harry. I have Harry in for third, and then I have Enda in for fourth. That's kind of that's what I'd like to see happen anyway.
Yeah, interesting. I don't have any picks for you. I just put you in the spot. But yeah,
Yeah.
look, I think Chris Jones could win that race for sure, and Keith will be right up there. Um, Not picking Danny Young for the win, but yeah, and then in the female 100K, it's not as stacked. I think the takeaway that I had when I looked at it was, well, Fiona Pascal's the clear favourite, but it's
Yeah.
also, are we breaking news here? But this will be her first race as a Terex athlete.
You're breaking news to me because I knew she was gone from Solomon, but I didn't know who the shoe was.
Yeah. So apparently it's Terex
That's
as
a good fit. I like that. That's a good fit. I think that's cool.
yeah. Uh, Everyone's moving away from Solomon or not being renewed from Solomon. I had a big conversation with a friend yesterday about Solomon and like where are they in the sport right now? Like it feels like they're not. It feels like they're shrinking in certain
Mm.
respects. He was saying like, oh, I don't feel like they're innovating enough on the shoe front, and they're not building like a stable of athletes. Like you look at what Hoka has now, Jim, uh, Francesco, Hans, all of these new people over the last couple of years, as well as the quality athletes that they have already on contract. And then you think about Solomon and yeah, Courtney and Ryan Sands, Lucy Bartholomew, but like it's just not their priority doesn't seem to be we got to go out and win these races.
No, and they're sticking with athletes they've had for years. But I mean, they pulled out like they had Team Solomon in America. They pulled that last year. You know what I mean? So they are pulling back from sponsoring lots of athletes and more. I think more focused on a handful of athletes. You know, they're kind of their bread and butter athletes like Courtney, like Francois. You know, and it doesn't seem to be innovative or anything new coming from them, you know?
Yeah. I think my take on the development of the shoes and the gear is that I think maybe they might be suffering from the fact that they were at the top and then like think of the S Lab days and they were innovating, they were the best at one point on the shoe front.
Yeah,
I
of
think they're
course.
I think a lot of their people have then been poached to Hoka and the North Face and they're maybe just
But,
living in the years after that. And they've also
but
focused on
yeah,
Golden Trail.
but if you were to rank that, if you were to rank where they sat in like your top five shoes or your top 10 shoes, where would Solomon rank, hey? They'd be way down. They'd be
They're
way
not in
down.
my list at all.
Yeah, do you know that okay, I like the look of that new shoe they have. Is it the Ultra or something? But that's just because I like the look of it. I have no idea if that's a good shoe or not. Nor do I really care if it's a good shoe or not, which doesn't say a lot for the brand anymore. A couple of years ago, that brand was way up there. You know, it was Solomon, and everybody's trying to catch Solomon. Now it's like, nah, we don't really care about Solomon anymore. You know, it's
Yeah,
funny.
it
It's
is.
hard to
Yeah,
stay on top. It's hard to stay on top.
yeah. The tide has definitely turned there, and like we'll throw this in at this point too. Max King has
Mm.
not been renewed or left for a better offer, and he's been there forever. but he's gone and just announced his signing with Kailas FUGA, which
Yeah,
great for them, bad for Solomon, I would say.
bad for Solomon. I don't know how I feel about that. I actually don't know how I feel about it. I am such a Max King fan. Hey, I love him. I love him. I've met him a couple of times, and I'm nearly like starstruck when I'm talking to him. I remember I met him like 2 years ago at World Champs, and he had a pair of sunglasses that were bigger than me. Like, you know what I mean? I thought this guy is just deadly. But like he was always Solomon, and like they did a lot of cool things around him. I remember when he was like running across America. I don't know what he was doing, but he was running across maybe east to west or something like that. And he had a cowboy hat on him and he was running in Solomon's, with no shirt on him. And I just think he's badass. And now he's gone from Solomon and yeah, he's with Kailas, but I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. Is that a good fit? I just don't know,
Oh,
you
you're
know?
getting old. You're starting to not want change. Can we keep things the way they are forever?
Yeah.
But as he's got older, he started to prioritize time with the community and
Yeah.
working on juniors. So he said, like in his statement, that this is one of the reasons he's signed with Kailas because of like their thoughts.
20 year, like promise. That's kind of what he was told. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
So
that's where Kailas are looking to. Yeah.
yeah, like they are pivoting soon, if not this year or next year. They're pivoting to the American market. The
Yeah.
big push in 25 was into Europe, and that momentum will continue. But they'll add the US market into that either at some point this year is what I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair play to them. Like if they're making good product, they're doing it the right way, they're investing in all of these races. Like you look at a race that's not part of the UTMB World Series, and it might be a Kailas sponsored event now,
Yeah.
sponsoring Swiss
Yeah.
Canyon Trail. They sponsor the Tour X and a lot of the tour races. Obviously, presenting sponsor at the Tour de Gigantes. Every race you look at in Asia is a Kailash race. Vietnam Mountain Marathon, like they are all over the place. So we're going
Yeah.
to start
And
to
they're
see
looking
Kailash
after.
races in
Yeah.
in America.
They're looking after like smaller countries, lesser known countries, athletes as well, and kind of like grassroots even, let's say, even in Ireland you've got Killian Fleming, you've got Luke Weldon, who's only a young fella, he's only like 19 or 20. He was at Worlds as well this year, but he's with them now, and rumor has it that even Enda Cloak may be with Kailas as well, so we might find out more about that after this race.
Yes, I actually saw Luke running in the 330s, and I was like, oh right,
Mm,
okay. And Rebecca Horman, who we mentioned, that was her first race as a Kailath athlete as well. So yeah, they're doing good things. Moving on then from that, Hong Kong 100 kicks off the World Trail Majors this weekend. First race in the Fantasy League as well. So make sure you get your picks in for that. And like you look at through the entry list for races in Asia, especially Hong Kong 100. I remember it last year, and I was looking at it going, I don't know a lot of these names now. I'm getting better with recognizing some of the Chinese athletes, but it's still like there's more Chinese athletes I don't know than I do know at this point. But in the men's field, household names that we will know, Tom Jolly and Dakota Jones are in there. And then the one of the top seeds, Abel Carrero, he was second Ultra Perinu to Dimitri, only 5 minutes back. He's been second to in Penagolosia, and he beat Marcel, or what do you call it, Miguel Arsenio, who's always like he's a super fast guy. So he's another quality athlete. What was your takeaways from the Hong Kong 100 entry list?
Again, you might think very few Asian athletes and the Chinese athletes. I know less. I know
Yeah,
less of
that's
them.
true.
Yeah, I know less of them. So I was kind of like glad to see that Dakota and Tom are racing in it because, like, I'm a big fan of Tom Jolly. He's a friend of the show, as we like to say. And then Dakota Jones. Dakota Jones is just interesting. It's always interesting to see where he's at in his training and what is he trying to do there, because that'll be a great battle between him and Tom, I think. That'll be interesting because, look, I know Tom, and he'll be looking for a podium all day long, you know what I mean? That's it. When he signs up for a race, he's trying to win it, like, so. And I would imagine Dakota Jones is the same. He's probably seeing that as there's a good entry for me in the World Trail Majors and get on a podium or maybe even a win. So it'd be interesting to see, because is he living in Europe now as well? I think he's living in Spain now.
Dakota Jones, his partner is Martina Valmasoy, so I think he spends a lot of time in Italy.
Oh, Italy, sorry, yeah, yeah. But that's what I mean. So he's probably training a lot in the Alps now over in Italy, and then he'll be in good mountain running shape, like, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting that to see Dakota on the start list because he's always been very thoughtful about the travel and how he
Yeah,
gets to races. And there's only one way to get to Hong Kong, and it's in a big, big bus in the sky. So interested to see him
yeah, but
towing
that's a
the line on
bus.
that
It's
one.
fine. It's fine. It's a bus. It's a bus.
Good job it wasn't the UTMB bus, otherwise he'd be paying his mobility tax.
Yeah.
And then in the women's race, like what I should say on the men's race is there's previous multiple winners of Hong Kong 100 in that race. We're looking at the white guys going, they're the names that stand out mostly to us. But from personal opinion here is they're probably not the winners of that race, even though you look at it and I think Tom maybe has the most impressive, most recent previous season.
Yeah. Look,
But
and yeah, but I also think that, like, the speed that this sport is growing and how good the Chinese are at everything, they will be household names. We will all know their names because they will be winning everything. Wait till you see, they'll be winning everything, and we won't but know their names.
yeah, in the women's race, then like looking at an Asian athlete, Man Yi is there. She won the Mount Fuji 100 and GPT 100 last year, so that's a name that jumps out. She also has won. She hasn't won this race before, but she wins a lot of races in Asia. She's won the other top races in Hong Kong, like then I think it's the Nine Trails. There's another 100K in Hong Kong as well. She's won these races, so she stands out there. And then Stephanie Case isn't on the preview, but I've seen on her Instagram that she is, or maybe it was her Strava actually, like last run before Hong Kong 100. So I think she's toeing the line as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, but it was the same. I think you sent me that Dakota was racing because I didn't see his name on their social medias. It didn't show that he was racing, and it definitely didn't show that she was racing. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see if she does turn up.
Ricki, we need to move in and hear a little bit about the training. We've done the news before the training this week, just mixing it up. So, like, how has the training been? What was last week's volume like?
Uh, Last week was, I'm going to say, I think last week was 107 kilometers. Yeah, 107 or 106 kilometers last week. Maybe 1,400 meters of climbing, something like that. So this week was pretty much the same. I got a little bit more miles in the legs this week, but I actually ended up taking 2 rest days this week. But, like, I don't take rest days because there's no such a thing as a rest day when you roof houses, right? So just don't ever think that Ricky
Two
Wynne
rest
is
days
doing
in a
nothing.
row.
In a row, yeah. Monday and Tuesday,
Jesus.
yeah. Sunday was a hard session. Monday, I'll get to it because the 2 sessions a week, comparison is the thief of joy, right? This is how I'll put it now. Comparison is the thief of joy. I looked at other people doing these treadmill workouts and I was saying, oh, maybe I need to jump on that, right? And then I see Beth McKenzie do this kind of workout and I'd say, yeah, I need to do that. Beth's doing that. I need to do that. Beth McKenzie doesn't roof houses. That's all I'm going to say. She doesn't roof houses. She doesn't swing a hammer. She doesn't swing a hammer. So when Ricky Wynne tries to do 2 seriously hard sessions a week, when he knows that he's never done that before because he's too bollocks tired and it wrecks the rest of his runs. So I'm going back to old school Ricky, where I do 1 very, very hard session and then I do my easy runs and lots of steady runs, because I just think that I cannot. I know that I'll end up breaking myself if I keep doing that, because I can't maintain that sort of intensity. There's a reason I've never done it before, is because I tried it years ago, and then when I went back to work on a Wednesday and a Thursday, like this Friday, I'm not messing with you. I was putting screws down into a deck on Friday. I could have fell down on that deck and just conked it and fell asleep. And then you'll have seen on my Instagram, if anyone was watching my Instagram, like on Thursday and Friday, I went up and ran 20k. I'm not messing with you. I ran those 220ks with my eyes closed. They were pretty much closed. I was falling asleep while I was running, like, you know. So I was thinking, well, I'm very fit because I'm able to run like that and be that tired. But if I keep doing those hard sessions, like, it'll actually, because I've been doing them even before the treadmill. I was doing the midweek session as well, and they were really catching up on me and kicking my ass, you know. So, long story short, or short story long, I'm back, we'll say, 107k this week. So I had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 320ks. Saturday, I was working again on Saturday. Saturday was a slightly longer run. I think I did 22k on the Saturday, all in around steady state pace. Sunday was a long run, which was 24k, but Sunday was a recce because I'm doing a race next weekend. It's an 8k race. It's part of a 3-race series in the northwest of Ireland. Your best results of those 3 races wins you the league, you know, if your results are good, whatever. That's your standards. But like, so I was doing a recce for that. So I used that as my session, and that was a great session. I actually had a great session. And also a little thing I was doing, like, we'll say I did 3 loops, right? So I did the 3 exact same loops, you know. And like, for anyone wondering, like, if you're doing a recce for a long run, you don't need to do 3 loops of it. You just need to do a recce for a long run, and you take in and you take down a few notes in your head, and you remember this hill or that hill or that hill. If you're recceing for a short race, your first loop is to see what the loop's like. Your second loop is to run it hard and see what you'll be like on race day and where you're going to put your feet. And then the third loop is exactly where you're going to put your feet. Because where you put your feet in certain parts of that course and technical parts of that uphill and downhill, that's seconds. And in an 8k race, every second matters.
Love it. You also had to make it into a long run, because if the loops are 8k, you need to build it out. But that's a good mindset to go into it. It was hard to get a word in there, but since I've got the mic now, I need to say that I forget who it was in the chat, but they said that you were making excuses, and all with banter, all with the slice of banter. But yeah, like, what happened to Ricky keep showing up? You only showed up to work for 2 days. You didn't show up to run. But hear me out. It's also important to listen to your body, and if you think you need a rest, take a rest. What I'd like to come back to you on about the workouts is, maybe you should think, like, if there's a benefit in doing those, in doing more intensity, maybe break it out, that instead of doing 2 in a week, you do that 1 that you've always done, but then maybe once a fortnight you get in like another one. So
Yeah.
if you think about it, zoom out to the month, you've actually ended up doing like at least 2 more higher intensity. You might also think about, like, if I think about my own training, which I'll come into in a minute, like, instead of doing 2 power workouts this week, because that race got cancelled, I didn't want to do a power workout because it wouldn't send me, it wouldn't be close to the race. So I ended up doing a sub-threshold longer effort on the bike. So I did 2 by 25 minutes. So I did,
Yeah.
during last week, I did 6 by 3 and 2 by 25. 2 very different, like, the 2 by 25 feels easy compared to 6 by 3, but it's longer. So there's 2 different areas that you're improving. So maybe the other, maybe you could think about different types of workouts as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea actually. That's smart, yeah. Because you're over time, that's always an extra session you're getting in, plus you're getting the week break of the two. Yeah, yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good way of looking at it, like to make sure you still get the session. Like, yeah.
So the race is on Saturday for you, is that right?
Yeah, Saturday, yeah. Yeah, and
Sweet.
not at stupid o'clock in the morning like your race. I think it's not till 10 o'clock in the morning, so that's
Well,
perfect, like, you know.
my race was going to be a lie-in this time because I wasn't getting collected until 20 past 5. The race was 6:30 start, but it didn't happen, and they've rescheduled it for Sunday the 1st of February, which clashes with the morning meetup.
More,
I'll
yeah.
be, I don't know, 6,000 miles away or something, that some crazy amount. So that's not going to happen. But they have one uh, every month for 3 months.
Ah,
So
class.
maybe I can move it to, I think it's the 22nd of February is the second race in the series. I've emailed them, said I won't be here. Can I swap my entry to that race? So hopefully,
Yeah.
because it was a weather event, so there's no refund, there's no nothing. It's like we reschedule the event, and if you can't make it, maybe you can't make it. But if they're not flexible in that, then they just lose me as a customer for life. I'm like, work with me."
Yeah, because yeah, there's not. I don't think like they should accommodate you for that. I think that's fine.
I
You know,
think they
you
will. I
pay.
think they will.
Yeah, I think they will. Yeah, yeah.
So on my training last week, it was just under 10 hours, 1,800 meters of climbing, 154K run and bike. But because I didn't do the race, my running, I only ran 3 days and I biked 4 days. So there was obviously no rest days because I just jumped on the bike for that, but I had 2 bike workouts.
Oh, sorry. Hold on a second. If you're telling me you jumped on the bike, you're not taking a rest day, then I didn't take a rest day. I didn't take a rest day. I went to work. I went to work and I swung out of the roof for the day, so I didn't take a rest day either.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not making excuses.
Uh,
Continue,
you
continue, continue.
rested from aerobic training.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
T-
I'm not
Come to work.
criticizing you.
Yeah. Come to work with me. Come to work with me on a roof. It's aerobic training. I promise you that. Hey, it's aerobic training.
Absolutely no chance. So look, I'm even embarrassed to say this, but my running was down at like 40K. It's like I know
Yeah,
it's not enough, but I also have to have the confidence to think the priority for me is not to just go out and build easy Ks at this point. Like I'm working on my weaknesses, which is strength and power. And
power. Yeah,
I did my two workouts, and I did enough running to maintain like my body remembers that I'm still a runner. But also I had to go to the physio last week because I had like an Achilles niggle, and so I've got like 30 minutes of activations to do before every run, which is a real pain in the ass whenever you have to do 30 minutes of flipping sumo walks and side planks and things before you
yeah.
go out for a run in the morning. Um, the questions come into the chat. I'm considering running UTMB. Do you guys think I should just bite the bullet and do it? I mean, everyone's got to do UTMB at some point, but there's also like loads of amazing races. So I would just enjoy the journey of running the best races in your country, in your region, and getting your experience up that way. Like UTMB is always going to be
But
there.
yeah, but it's also like I don't mean any offense by this to whoever asked that question. I can't see. I can't see the screen that Aaron can see. But I mean, you can't just rock up and do UTMB. It doesn't work like that. You've got to like I don't know, has this guy qualified to run UTMB, you know? So I mean, if you're thinking of doing UTMB like next year or the year after, then yes, definitely go for it. You know what I mean? So sign up to a race, get your stones, because you need to get stones to qualify you for it. Like there's a system in place You know, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to rock up next year and do UTMB. It doesn't work like that. You got to get your stones, your qualifying races, and then hope that that gets you into UTMB. But yeah, look, definitely, I want to do the UTMB. Aaron's done UTMB, so we're going to say yes, do it. But like Aaron said, tons of good races out there.
Twice, Ricky. Run it twice. Don't
Yeah,
don't don't
sorry.
shortchange me. He's come back and said he's run a couple of sub 3 marathons and done a 50-mile ultra. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. Get out there and do some mountain running, some ultra trail, build up your experience. Don't know where you're located, but if you're in the UK and Ireland, there's loads of choices, there's loads of options. But preparing for UTMB on the roads is not the way to do it. Like UTS, arc of attrition that we've mentioned, um, that's where you'll get your stones if you're in that region. So,
He's in America. He's in America.
well, you've got loads of options out there. Get into the mountains. That's the takeaway. Right.
Yeah.
Anything else in the training front, Ricky, before we move on? Because we've had some questions submitted, so that I think that'll be a fun one.
No, I think I'm good. Yeah. Yeah. I was up. I was up in my week. That's all I'd say. Just about up. So even with 2 rest days, I was still up, you know.
Are you gonna have any more rest days before the race? It's only 8Ks, mate. Like you'll
Oh,
be
Jesus, no, 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 no. Like the 8K race is a race. Don't get me wrong, it's a race, and I'll run it as hard as I can. But I mean, it's at the same time, it's a training day. It's like there'll be probably a 5K warm up before that race, and then there'll probably be two more loops after that race. So I get like close to 30K in the day. You know what I mean? With a session in there. That's how I'd be looking at that kind of a day.
Yeah, love it. All right, we'll hear about that next week. A few questions. I stuck it up on Instagram just to hear any questions or topics because it was always fun just to pick out a couple of those. And first one is actually related to, I guess, that last question, or there's similarities anyway. But I DNS'd my last 100K after a great first 100K. Now I'm
Mm.
struggling to get motivation and training for something in the summer. Any advice? You can take that one away.
Oh, I have. I don't want, again, I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to be rude or anything like that, right? But I mean, I always find it a weird question, like about motivation, because I think motivation is something, is a myth. It doesn't belong anywhere near your training. You don't need to be motivated to train. You need to be disciplined to train. That's what you need to do. And this guy, he's saying he ran 100K and he ran well in that 100K, and that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So like, take that confidence you got from that into your next training plan. But for me, what I'd be trying to say is like, most of us have a job, right? Like, what? Nearly every single person you know in this world has a job, and they have to get up every day and go to work. You don't need motivation to go to work. You just go to work because you have to go to work. So I always think, just bring that mindset into training, right? But think of it like the reward, right? So you go to work, right? Which is the chore, and the reward is somebody pays you. You know, you make money, right? So that's the reward. If you're training and if you're not training, so if you're training, that's the chore, that's the hard bit. The reward is you get better. If you don't train, you go broke. If you don't train, you don't get better. You know what I mean? You just get worse or you stay the same.
You
So
definitely get
that's,
worse. You don't stay the same. It's the same
yeah,
if you don't go to work. You don't financially stay the same.
yeah, yeah,
You,
yeah,
you eventually
yeah,
lose everything.
yeah. That's a good answer, though, right? I think that's a good answer. Like, you just got to flick the switch in your brain to tell you that the most important thing that I need to do today, and I know it's not, right? And people have family and kids and this and that, but you have to trick yourself and tell yourself that the number one most important thing for me to do today is run. That's the most important thing. Everything else comes after that. Just trick yourself. Maybe don't tell your wife or your husband that, but just trick yourself.
Yeah. And that's why I think it always impresses me that you're able to do that after work because I totally agree. Like I always have to put training first. As much as it doesn't sound, nice that you're putting it in front of family or whatever. I just mean I have to prioritize that. So for not to get in the way with other things or not to be a tussle with other things, just do it first. Like
Mm.
get it done. And on the motivation side, like I kind of can sympathize with the point. Like the guy's done. It was a guy. He's done 100K and had a good result. The next one he DNF'd. So what I would say then, from coming up from a different angle, is maybe don't enter another 100K. Maybe you need maybe change to do something new, something more interesting. Maybe go down the distance, maybe go up the distance, just to give that a different training stimulus. I don't like training for the same race year on year, like as a goal race. And obviously we've talked in the past about stepping through the distances as the year progresses. So you're doing an 8K, the next race you might do might be a 50K, then you're doing 111K in May, and the goal is then to do 170K in August. And I would have a
Yeah.
similar type of trajectory building through the distances through the year. So maybe just get that motivation by doing something fresh, doing something different, doing something new. So that would be my advice. I like to lean into whatever's motivating me. So if I'm motivated to get stronger for hill climbing, that's all I need to get on that bike, as much as it means sitting over there in the corner in a little room, listening to techno, looking at a wall.
With Frank and Fern.
Yeah, and like, that motivates me. But then sometimes I want to get motivated. I get the motivation going, hey, I want to go out and run laps of the burrito league
Mm.
and get my burrito laps up, and that's what I did yesterday. So I was like really looking forward to get out on the run yesterday because I missed racing on Sunday. So I ended up having like 2 days in a row that I didn't run. I had 2 days on the bike, which was unplanned. So I was like, oh, I can't wait to get out tomorrow and just like pound the pavement. I think I'll go over there, do some burrito laps, and get a burrito at the end of it, and that'll be my dinner. So like find motivation wherever it comes from and lean into that.
Yeah, exactly. And even what you were saying that you don't know how I do my runs after work in the evening, but like there's a reason I do it like that too. There's two reasons. Number one is I know that if I ran like between 18 and 20K in the morning and then go to work, I probably wouldn't do a great day's work, right? But also I want the last thing I do at night to put me in good humor. You know what I mean? That like the last thought I have is a good one, and not like I mightn't want to go for that run. I mightn't at the time want to do that run, but the second that run is done, I feel great. I feel $1 million, and I go to bed happy. And I'm just like that's it, and that's the way I like to end my day.
Yeah, but you've been doing this for so long with that routine that you don't need, yeah, motivation helps, but really it's such a consistent practice for you to finish work, go for a run, eat your dinner,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's
It's
it.
routine, it's
Yeah.
habit, and it's routine, and that's what it is. Like motivation comes into it, like when you're motivated to do a certain race or see a different country and run there and da 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 whatever. I think that's where motivation comes in. But day to day, that's just habit. Drill it into you. Just drill it into you, you know. You have to run. You have to run. You have to run. Like in your own head, you know. Otherwise you sound like a lunatic.
You're just in the room, just talking to
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough on that one. Next one's a quick one. Made a decision on Suunto versus Coros yet? I mean, I was gonna throw this straight over to you because we would have made a decision and we would have put that decision out onto the internet at this point. Uh, at this point, 2 weeks ago.
Mm.
So, have you made a decision yet? I mean, all I'm saying is you can't say. You can tease it.
Yeah. I suppose I have made a decision, but then a lot of it comes down to price point too. If you were to talk about, I know you're maybe talking about like you know, is it Coros or is it Suunto? Is it the interface? Is it the, you know, like the way you say it, like changing watches, like changing stratospheres or
Ecosystem.
use ecosystems? Yeah. So, but if you were to look at it, like if we were comparing two watches, you know what I mean? And then you'd say, well, they both do the same kind of thing, and it comes down to price point. There's a little bit of that in it too, you know? Exactly, yeah, yeah. So there's a little bit of that in it as well with the Suunto Vertical 2 and then the Coros Apex 4. But I haven't tested the Apex 4 yet, so I still can't tell you which I prefer because I haven't tested that one yet because we're only just finishing up testing Suunto. And then before you get into it, I hold my hand up and I'll say that it is my fault, it is Ricky's fault that we haven't had a review out because he can't tie me down for a time to get the review, but I promise it's coming, it's coming.
Yes, it is coming. We're recording it this week. The date is in the diary, so I think that means that we'll be able to get this released next week. And
Yeah.
our review of the Suunto Vertical 2 should be out next week, and we will let you know on next week's show when what day that'll come out. Two more questions, and then we will wrap it up for the show. Uh, again, this is a difficult subject because I don't know. Whenever I read it, I'm like, oh, I have to talk about this. But how's dry January going? How's dry January and the weight going? That's obviously a question for me. Dry January's going well. I haven't had any interest in having a beer or anything. And as I've said on record, the next time that I will have a drink will be a pint of Guinness in the mountains
Oh,
of
here it
Mourne
is.
at the Trail Talk meetup because Guinness in Australia is absolutely shite. So I can't wait to have an Irish Guinness when I'm breaking my dry January. And in terms of like the weight, look, I think it's important to say I'm not on a diet, but
Yeah.
I am just eating cleaner because you drink some beers, maybe you have a bag of crisps or whatever. I think what I'm trying to do nutrition wise is just be more thoughtful about it. So don't be snacking on rubbish, don't be drinking alcohol. And then, like yesterday, for example, I didn't get out for the run until it was like 3 in the afternoon because I just had to do other things first. But I was hungry at that point because I just had breakfast and maybe a protein shake. So I had like 4 or 5 jelly worms. Like I had 4 or 5 sweets, but it's fine because I went out and like did 15 or 16 Ks. So I'm okay. It's okay to go out and fuel the run.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like you don't go out for a run hungry because you're trying to lose weight or whatever. But in terms of like the numbers, yes, it's come down. I think in the past 2 weeks, I think I weighed at like 68.0, which I was like blown away whenever I saw that. And I think um yesterday when I weighed in the first time I've gone under 67. So it was like 66.9. And honestly, like for me, I just want to bring it back down to where I normally would have been, which is probably just under 66. Like 66
Yeah.
for me will be great. And I feel the difference already. Like I don't want to sticking on my half tights going, oh, these these are a bit uncomfortable. And that's all it comes down to. We're not trying to lose
Yeah.
anything, just tidy things up. And I think the start of the year is a nice time to just, tidy things up. It can get out of kilter over Christmas and things. People are drinking a bit more wine and champagne and New Year's and all this type of stuff. And whenever, personally for me, like whenever if I have like a wine or beer or whatever, I'm more likely to then have a packet of crisps or
Of course,
a
yeah.
sausage roll or like something. One leads to the other. So if you cut one thing out, all of those other things don't happen. And
Yeah, and you don't crave it. You don't crave the crap. It's like when you're eating the crap, you crave the crap. When you're eating clean, I honestly feel like when you're eating clean, you crave clean. I just think that's how your body works, like, you know. And
yeah,
look, like you said, it's everybody overindulges over Christmas, and that's life. You're supposed to, you know what I mean? You're supposed to be happy and do things that make you happy. And then in January, if you just need to clean it up a little bit, clean it up a little bit.
it's a good time to do a reset. Question in the chat: do you guys think weight is an advantage, disadvantage in mountain running? I think that is a, a not a controversial question, but one that has to be answered thoughtfully. And I think the most
Mm,
important thing in mountain running is to be healthy, and running in general is to be healthy. So it's about being healthy. It's not about being light. And in mountain
correct.
running, it's important to be strong.
Power to weight ratio. That's how you look at it. Power to weight. As in, it all well and good being skinny, but if you're not strong, then you're not going to be any good. You need to be powerful. So even if you're light, you need power. I'm light. I'm small and light, but I'm powerful, and I work on power. Like, as in, I work on power when I'm running, but I also do a lot of work, manual labor work, that makes me strong. So strength is very important. Strength is very, very important.
Which means that I should be an absolute beast coming up because I'll be a little bit lighter and I'm working on the bike to get my power up. So we're
I
working
can't
on two
wait. I
things.
can't wait to see you in the mornings.
I might be able to run with you this time. Hulk mode, let's go. All right,
Yeah.
two more questions before we let you get off to bed. Are European and African athletes often overlooked in Trail Runner of the Year? Now, I didn't really pay any attention to these awards this year. Just I haven't been following those channels since UTMB. But whenever I looked at the top 10 on men and women, I it would appear that they're not being overlooked because it was there was good representation. Like there was two Kenyans in the top 10,
Yeah.
um, and loads of
Francesco
Europeans.
was in there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sarah
Yeah.
Alonso.
And
So, like, no, I don't think so, but I can understand how people would think that because certainly we're trending to more diversity in that top 10. So I think this year that wasn't the case. Any thoughts on that?
no, I think the same as what you said as well, you know. But then as well, I myself didn't follow along with that because it was dragged out for so long, and it was just like I really lost interest in it, you know. Just checking in the whole time. I wasn't going checking in. So no,
Yeah,
that's my 2 cents on it.
when that question came in, I had to look it up, and
Mm.
thankfully there was a top 10. There was a post with the top 10 notable mentions, and that's where I got the information from. But yeah, worthy question because that is a feeling that people have had in previous years. Last question, and we've had this one before. What is the Shimon's Wynne origin story? And we don't like, we've done this in previous
Yeah.
podcasts, and I'll probably just, like, you can add to it, but I'll probably just say, like, we're both from Ireland. If you think about like the global ultra trail community, like I know people all around the world because it's like kind of small whenever you think about ultra trail with global interest. So whenever we were in the same country and we were running races, we knew who each other were. And I'm older than you as well. So like I remember you starting to run ultras and I had an opinion of like this guy's fast, he keeps getting lost, but he's
If he
but
stops
also
getting lost. Yeah.
I've been doing stuff on the internet for a long time as well, and then you were coming through and had a personality online as well. So it wasn't long before we knew who each other were, and I think the first time we met in person was 2019, I
Yeah.
think.
Kerry.
Um, yeah, at the Carry Away Ultra. So anything to add to that?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, because I remember. I don't remember the first time when you start following me or something, or you start asking me questions, and I was like, "Who's this guy?" You know what I mean? And I was like, "Oh, he's got like 10,000 followers," because that's what you probably had at the time, maybe a bit more, you know. And then I was like, "Who's this guy?" And then I was looking at you, and then I saw you were doing Kerry, and I was looking at you like, "All right, I need to know who he is, you know, and find out what he's doing." And I was stalking your Strava for ages and everything, you know, leading up to that race, you know. So like that's, and then I don't know. After that, it was like you pinged me a few messages here, there, and now we're here. You know, that's pretty much it. And it's snap, snap, snap. Life is fast.
Like as far back as I'd been going to UTMB, which was 2015, the Irish have always met up. So whenever you
Yeah,
started to go to UTMB, I think I don't know, I probably shot you a message. It was like, you know, get a coffee or whatever,
yeah.
and uh, it kind of just flourished from there into now 3 years of into our third year of Trail Talk, and more than well over a
And
year of
and now
weekly
it's a
live streams.
long distance, and now it's a really long distance relationship.
That question actually did progress on more. There was like, is there a bromance story or something along the lines? And this is what it is. You see it, it's public, and we're both very keen ultra trail nerds, and that's it. That's it. Ricki, we've got to wrap it up. It
Yeah,
is, what time is it? It's 10 o'clock with you nearly.
yeah, 10 to 10.
Yeah, it's nearly time for breakfast over in Australia. Before we go, as I've mentioned, Hong Kong 100 is coming up. It's in the Fantasy League. Get your picks in. Next week, the show will come to you from Ireland, not together. The week after that will be in person together, and we will do, I think, a Q&A for everyone, because I think that's fun whenever we're both there as well. If you've got any questions about the show or have a comment on things we've talked about, stick it down below. Stick it in the comments, leave a review, jump in the WhatsApp, 5-star reviews, yeah, give us a 5-star review. And that's all from me.
That's all from me.
Peace.
Peace.